A new study says a record-shattering 532 billion tons of ice melted in 2019. That's around 66 tons of ice for each person on Earth. It amounts to more than 532 trillion litres of water, although Greenland could recover some of its ice sheet through fresh snowfall. But it's already having an effect on our oceans. Last year's melt added 1.5 millimetres to global sea levels. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if it goes on at the same rate, 30 million people could be affected by coastal flooding at the end of this century. If Greenland lost all of its ice, sea levels will rise by around 6 metres, which would redraw the world's coastlines.
We already knew from weather data and also from field expeditions that 2019 was a warm summer with a lot of melt in Greenland. The satellite data we analyzed then finally gave proof that 2019 set a new record in terms of mass loss. So we were surprised to some extent, yes, because the previous mass loss record in 2012 that had been considered like an event of a century, repeated just within 7 years.
What about that worst case scenario about the entire ice sheet melting? Is that something that could happen?
It is definitely something that could happen, but it may take millennia to really disintegrate the ice sheet to a large extent. So our study rather shows that we have substantial ice loss in Greenland. A large part of this caused by melting, and this is closely connected to temperature. So every fraction sort of we save in terms of Arctic warming, we will get back in terms of less sea level rise and also the risks that are coming with it.
Tell me more about those risks if this ice loss from Greenland continues to accelerate at the present rate.
I think based on our study, we don't have to revise our projections that are sort of that sort of show that Greenland could contribute something like 10 centimeters by the end of the century. So obviously, a lot of coastlines will be affected, and as you have pointed out, 30 million people could be affected directly by this sort of sea level rise. But you should keep in mind it's not only Greenland, which is a sea level contributor. We also have the Arctic glaciers. We also have Antarctica, and also the thermal expansion of the ocean that is related to global warming also contributes to sea level rise.
What do you advise governments to do?
Well, so far, on a global scale, CO2 emissions keep increasing. So the planet is warming and temperatures in the Arctic are rising disproportionately. So we see summer temperatures that are rising 1.5 times faster than the global average. So, and if we continue on this pathway, we will see something like 4 centigrade higher temperatures than today in the Arctic. So, But so I would advise to limit CO2 emissions, limit warming, which will then keep the Arctic at a lower temperature. But, melting and sea level rise is not necessarily the best indicator for the effectiveness of climate politics. So we know the ice sheet, even if we stop warming the Arctic right now, the ice sheet will lose mass for some time.
Well, thank you very much for shedding some more light on that analysis in that report for us. Ingo Sasgen, a geoscientist, joining us there from the Alfred Wegener Institute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.